Okay, reflection in water. We're gonna start, what we're gonna do is start with cerulean blue, Payne's gray and white. And then for the architectural detail, we'll move into a different color, titanium buff and ultramarine violet to reflect those. So for now, we're just going to do the trees, and I'm just going to mix. It's a clean new brush because it needs to be tapered. It's easier. And I'm going to take these two. I'm going to need more of the Payne's gray than cerulean blue. And what we'll do after is we'll go in. I'm going to taper these in, taper them into a thin line. I mean, I did put those lines just to have an idea where I want to put those, put the reflection, but it doesn't mean that this is it. Those lines are going to be just a guideline. This is just now, I've mixed cerulean blue and Payne's gray, and I did this part. Now I'm going to take cerulean blue and then go in and then soften a bit and go out of the line a bit. And later on, I'm going to be putting a bit more blues and whites over this. But for now, it's good. That's good. Okay, next. Again. If I keep them like this without adding more reflection or more lines on top, they would look funny. So for now, okay. Connect them a bit in the top and push in some of this into that. Let's take a bit more cerulean blue and less Payne's gray. Acrylic dries darker, so I will be adjusting the reflection when the acrylic is dry. And take now cerulean, go in and soften. For the sake of speed, I'm just going to be going fast down. Right, okay. Some of it goes over. Okay. So it's exactly what I was doing here, but faster. Okay. Let's take some white and blue, cerulean blue and white. Because this is really harsh right now. We need to soften. Because with reflection, it's layers and layers. It doesn't happen, easily. I'm glazing the colors that I put in there, glazing them with white and blue, mostly white, but it's a glaze. So I want to still see them, but I don't want them to be harsh. I want to see a part of a bit of that. Actually, I'm going to glaze. Okay. That's a glaze. That's better. Again, cerulean white. Let's do it, make it into a glaze. I'm softening this with white and blue glaze, because every time it dries, the paint dries, I can see the harsh lines, and I'm just going over them to make them softer. Unfortunately, I have to wait. This is acrylics. I have to wait for it to dry so I can adjust. Pushing down my brush stroke. So I'm doing, okay, so I'm taking now acrylic, Payne's gray and blue, bit of white. And what I'm doing is I'm taking my brush and I'm going back and forth, but at the same time, I'm dragging my brush. Dragging, okay. Again, touch very small amount of Payne's gray. And then again, go back and forth, drag. I think that's the best way to do this. Okay. And it's still drying darker. Yeah, let's add some white. Let's see. No. I go over this with a bit of white after. White and blue. Okay, that's good. That's working. Oops. Soften this one here. Again, it's drying very dark, very harsh. Okay, let's do this. Oh, putting some blue over, cerulean blue softens the harshness of that dark acrylics. Just cerulean. That's good. Let's add white and blue. Go back to white and blue. My brush is too big, too wide. I'm just going to go over this just a couple of times with white and cerulean to soften all these lines. Let's make it into a more like a glaze. Glaze works with water much better than just harsh line, harsh paint, full paint. Oh yeah, that's better. Glaze, white and blue, cerulean blue. Glaze that. At first it looks really strong, but then it dries darker, the glaze. So what we want those, the reflection of the trees, the dark reflection, to be there. Like what I'm doing is I'm just softening this reflection by using a glaze of white and cerulean blue over. So it's there, you can still see it, that's why it's glazed, it's transparent, but at the same time, it's not harsh. Again, glaze. I'm softening all of those harsh lines that I had underneath by glazing them, which makes sense because the light color that's sitting on top I'm glazing with is the color of the sky, and the dark is the color of the trees. It's a reflection of the trees, I should say. Let's put some blue in here, some cerulean blue. It's like putting a film over those trees, transparent film over, or paper. It softened the whole thing. That's awesome. Okay. Let's take white, push it into the blue, and put some water to glaze it, to make it transparent, not heavy. And we're going to do the same. I'm going to put some dabbing, bit of dabbing in here. So we don't get a strong cut between the white or light blue on top and the bottom. We'll do it gradually. We'll just bring some of these dabs of white mixed with blue over. And that's a glaze. But now instead of dragging my brush, I'm dabbing. Glaze is the best way to do reflection in water. Takes patience. Right, let it dry. Let's let it dry, and then meanwhile, we'll do the reflection of the architectural detail. Titanium buff. A bit of ultramarine violet. And glaze. We're going to glaze this. I'm not going to go into same detail you see in there. It's just too much, you know, layering, and we'll just do these two colors. We'll put a, can you see what I'm doing here? No, you can't. Okay. Okay. Glaze, so put water, or, you know, I bought a glazing medium. I haven't used it yet. I usually don't do these. I don't buy glazing stuff or mediums, but this one might work. Okay, straight down here. Again, one more. This widens a bit. Oh. That's a strong, that's very strong. That's okay. I can glaze it back with blue on top. Okay, let's do that one. I can see this one here in the back. I'm going to put it, widen this a bit. So I'm going to put a bit more ultramarine violet in my titanium buff, and again, glaze and put it right next to, widen this a bit, but with a darker. I'll go back with blue over this. Just soften this because it needs to be, we need to reflect the sky. I'll go back to, where's my cerulean? Cerulean blue, white, glaze. So put water, putting more water in it. Okay, to make it more transparent. All right, I'm going to go over this now. And add some blues, and that will push it and soften it. Some glaze of blue in here. Again, with this one too. Again. Some white with my blue, just to give it a bit of. I usually don't do this. I usually do the reflection of the buildings or trees down, and then I put this reflection of the sky across. But this here has an interesting kind of reflection in the picture, so I didn't want to lose it completely. I don't want to change it completely, actually. You know, it just needs to be, we need to be a bit more patient, especially with glazing. It takes time. Glaze takes layers and layers for it to look good. Now I'm putting the stronger reflection of the sky, and that is making it look much better because it's pushing all of the fraction of the architectural detail in. It's not coming forward anymore. I'm softening, meaning that I'm adding wider brush strokes. Because when we do small, narrow brush strokes, what we're doing is we're making lines, thin lines. So it's nice to go back and kind of make a glaze wider brush strokes to unify them a bit. You know, the harsh acrylic, when it dries really kind of very harsh. So if we want to make it soften all this, we need to get rid of some of these lines and kind of unify a bit the water in here. There. We can still see the reflection of the trees, but they're not harsh. I think we should stop because this is, if I don't stop, I'm overworking this thing. It's going to be too much. Okay. I softened this area on purpose because it's just too much. It was too much. It's nice to have some of this reflection in between, but not all the way down.